So tonight I want to continue the Being a Detective for Your Health series, and tonight is about what if I fail? Well, let me tell you something. The answer is you can't. If you're experimenting, there is no failure. There's just learning in every different step that you take. So to continue on, again, what if I fail? So in this series, I've been talking about being a detective for your health, running experiments with foods, seeing how you feel with certain foods, what irritates your body, cleaning out your pipes, and learning a little bit about mindful eating and emotional eating and how that factors into this whole process. I know it's a lot, but I'm going to tell you, the more that I keep diving into this and the more that I keep becoming a detective for my own health, it actually kind of becomes fun. It's kind of a little game. And that is empowering. So tonight, I just want to talk about why is that important. I made a very short comment at the end of my last video about saying that I trust myself more. And that's actually a really important comment. Trust is huge. Trust is kind of everything. And the more that I've dug into this, the more I realize that for many, many years, I haven't trusted myself. I haven't trusted myself to know what is right for my body. I hadn't trusted myself to know when to push through. And that is part of what I'm learning with this beta test. It's really amazing. It's not anything that I would have thought I would have been learning from this nutrition-based beta test, but it is. And it's important. And the way that we're building trust is really interesting, because I started thinking about this. Like, why am I starting to feel like I am empowered in my nutrition and feeling like I can trust myself and trust the decisions that I'm making about my nutrition? And the simple answer is, well, there's not really a simple answer, but the answer is we are given the power in this group. We are empowered to make our own decisions. It is very clear and stated every single lesson that here is the research, here is the recommendation. You don't have to do it because it's not right for everyone. And so here are all of the recommendations. Here's the research to back it up. And instead of following a prescribed program, we are then deciding, hey, I think this works for me, and this makes a lot of sense given the autoimmune disease, given leaky gut, things like that. And we're empowered to make those own decisions. And that seems like a small thing, because of course we always make our own decisions, right? At the end of the day, everything is a choice, and you choose to do X, Y, Z. So you always choose whether or not to follow a prescribed plan or not. But here's the difference. The difference is, in a prescribed plan, there's at least for me, there's at least a feeling or an implied feeling that if you don't follow the plan exactly as prescribed, then you fail. And that's not what this is about. This is our lives. It's not about failing. It's about learning. And that's the difference that we're getting in this group is it's not about, here's the prescribed program. If you don't do it as prescribed, then you fail. Now, to be fair, that is not actually said in any of the other programs that I've ever done. But there's this, at least for me, like I said, at least for me, there is this implied feeling of failure if you do not follow all of the rules. What I am learning is to make my own rules based on the recommendations and based on the research provided. Now, of course, because the research is provided and there are recommendations, for the most part, I am really following all of those recommendations and all of the research because it makes a heck of a lot of sense. And I'm starting to feel results, and I'm starting to get results, and I'm feeling a lot better and a lot more clear. So again, that difference is a mental shift. And I think this might be the key. The key of the difference of being in a program that is prescribed and there is a risk of failure versus making your own program based on the research, and there is no failure. There's no failure. You're experimenting. And so from experiments, if it didn't go the way that you had originally planned, guess what? That's a learning opportunity. And so there is a mental shift, and it's very subtle. But when you look at it, it's the reason for this video is to talk about failure, because for me, that failure is like kind of the worst thing possible. I do not like failure. And so to go through a prescribed program and get off track, I failed. And that's demoralizing. And then that leads to more failure. And that leads to this whole cycle. Versus putting yourself in the driver's seat, putting yourself into a place of power and a place of being the decision maker. You're making decisions based on recommendations from experts, and you're making decisions based on research from experts. And so you're making the same decision as in the prescribed, but the failure is taken out. The risk of failure is taken out because it's an experiment. And oh my God, it's life. We are never going to live life perfectly. What is a perfect life? Well, now I'm totally getting off track, so I don't want to go down that road. But that's what I wanted to talk about today. That is something that I want you to think about. If weight loss or healing your gut or autoimmune disease, if any of those things are something that you are struggling with, think about how you are approaching or how the programs that you have been in have been approaching the rules. Are those rules hard, set, fast rules that at least are implied there is failure if you do not follow them? Or are these recommendations from experts that of course you end up following, but the difference is you are putting yourself in the driver's seat, which gives you confidence in yourself, and also trust in yourself, learning to trust yourself to make the right decisions. And if something happens, you know what? The world doesn't fall apart. The world doesn't fall apart. It's an experiment. You learn from that. You pick up your bootstraps. That's not the right phrase. But you get back on that horse. That one's better, kind of. And move forward and learn from that experiment. And it's just an experiment. So that's why I wanted to do this series about being a detective for your health, because this is something that this very small mind shift in becoming a detective in my health instead of following a prescribed program has made all the difference in the world in the 2.5 weeks that I've been doing it. So it's something I want you to think about, and I hope you found some value in this video. So thanks for joining me.